guys, our first video. Cheers.
Cheers!
Who are you?
I am a good person.
Hello, a good person.
Hello.
Hello!
How about you, the camera girl?
I am good.
Another good person.
Another good
Another.
person.
I'm thinking I'm only the bad person.
Who is
Yeah.
better here?
Depends on the subject and the question.
Yes, depends on that. So let's start. Oh, hello guys! How you doing? So let's start with today's topic. So, first question I'm going to ask you two is that do you think people idealize their childhood?
So I assume that the topic is about childhood and the means of parenting. I personally believe that the people, especially from the 40s and the 50s, do idealize their childhood a lot. What about you, Mohammed? What is your
I
opinion?
think we never experienced that period of time.
Yes, of
We are
course.
not,
But
40
we have the
or 50.
evidence.
Yes, maybe. And I think what you mean by idealizing your childhood is that you think back to your childhood
Yes.
and you think it was a really great thing.
Yes, like the way that you wanted to go back. Like
Yes.
you want to go back to
I
your
don't,
childhood.
people normally do that, but I don't think it's a, true thing, because
Yeah. So-
I think when I look back
Aha.
and recall my memories of my childhood, I didn't have any, I was dependent to my parents,
Mhm.
and I couldn't do anything that I want.
That's amazing. You know, guys, let's tell the audience. We
Yes.
are launching this video in a religious area, and a mosque is near to us, and it's early. We're near to Azan Maghrib.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah.
Yes. Okay.
When I look back at my childhood, I can see that there were some rules that I need to follow. And it was, really bad rules. I was experiencing really bad things. Imagine I needed to wake up really soon and go to school from morning to the noon.
So from dawn to dusk.
Yes, and we need to do our homework afterwards. And
Yeah.
we actually were involved with these useless things, and we didn't have the time to do such things like playing enough, like
Yeah.
making money, like spending our money in the way that we want it. And when we look back at those moments, we only remember the good part of that.
Yeah. The thing that people mean by idealizing their childhood is mostly that they remember the good things that happened and they don't mention the bad things and the disadvantages. But when I'm not a really old person, but from my age,
But
I
you're
don't
getting
really
old.
want to.
You're getting old eventually.
Yeah, I am getting old eventually. But you know what I think about my childhood is that I don't want to go back because I just have to have that long school days again, and I don't want to have that. Just maybe going back to when I was 4 or 5 and then staying there would be nice.
And the point is, for most of the times when I look back in the past, I just don't come across with these memories. As Muhammad Raza put it, most of the times when people are idealizing their memories back in the past, they don't look for bad experiences. Most students and the people who are actually studying the courses in the high school or elementary school are obliged to actually study the courses. So for me, at every morning that I woke up, at that time, I was miserable. I was literally a miserable person.
Yes.
And it is obligatory for you to tolerate the situation. And I think that the same issue happens for all of us.
Yes.
So when we look back at that time, thoughtfully, all of us don't want really to think back and go back and experience those
Yeah.
time again. We just want the good part of that.
As I said earlier about the people who are from the 40s and the 50s, you come across with these people talking about the warm environment that they had, the deep and thorough connection between the families. But the point is, I'm pretty sure that back in those days, people had much more complex issues according to their families. I don't know, somehow in a way that it's not actually good to say that those moments, those environments were actually better than this.
You're opening something totally different. We can say something else. For example, if I were living 20 or 30 years ago with the same age,
With the same age.
is totally different with
Exactly.
living in those times
when you were
when you
young.
were a child. So
Yes.
it's too different.
You know,
too
just the
different.
viewing of life of a child
Yes.
is different with the
Yes,
grown up.
yes. I think in those times, people in our age would lead an easier lifestyle. They had the time to do anything, to do a lot more mistakes than we are allowed to do now, because
Yeah, but
we are in a
the
hurry. The life nowadays is changed to a hurrying way, and everyone is in a hurry. But those time, in that time, in those times, there were a lot of time to think. There were a lot of time to do something, experience something, make mistakes, and there were enough time to live again.
my opinion is just the exact opposite of yours, because I think that if people in their childhood don't think much. They just think about having fun and just about their childish things. But when you're an adult, you think more, and when you're in this time that you have became an adult, you think that okay, that childhood was really better than what I had right now. But if I think that if right now with your age you came back to you came back to the past, you wouldn't think that. You would think that the past was really bad.
I think some people age really bad. You need to age well. If you don't achieve your goals, if you age bad, you will always regret your past.
Yeah.
Because you don't you think that you're not in a good position now. What do you think
what
about
I
it?
learned from what Mohammed Reza said is that the comparison I made didn't have an adequate measurement. So it's not good to just compare the generations with the same measurements. And the point is, I think that I don't know, there is this possibility that those people in that time didn't actually experience this amount of pressure. And as Mohammed Reza said, right now every individual is actually feeling this hurry to be in a hurry. And yeah, that's it.
People say that the childhood that a person has a lot of influence on a person's adulthood. And on that area, I've seen a research that has been done, that the research that a scientist got a lot of the MRIs of different people's brains, and between them were some serial killers. And between those and the MRI shows the amount of glucose your brain uses. So he saw that two of the brains were a lot similar. And one of them was the scientist's own brain, and another one was one of the serial killers. And he saw that the two brains MRI is really similar. That means they use them in the same way, and they use them very similarly. They went back to the serial killer's childhood, and he saw that he had a really bad childhood, and was living in a really bad situation when he was a child. But the serial killer, no, but the scientist lived a really good situation, so he became a scientist. So I'm asking you guys, do you think that's true? Do you think a person's childhood influenced their adulthood?
Okay, for example, someone is always crying whenever they face a difficulty. And this is what they learn and
Yes.
grow in their growing up, when they were childhood, and they learn to do this. So nowadays, they do that again. Or maybe some people try to show themselves as innocent people in any difficulty in their life, even though they face maybe it's their own fault to do something wrong, but they learn to show themselves innocent in order to get rid of those problems. So I think your childhood grows this defensive mechanism, or maybe offensive mechanism, or any kind of mechanism in your life, and this mechanism is fixed in you, and they become a part of your character, and it's really difficult to change them. So your childhood really affects your life in these ways.
Yeah.
This is one part, and there are other parts that I may say them after Amira's idea.
Based on my expertise, I think that the childhood can be the biggest impediment that a person could interfere in his own life. Given that, for example, we all know that the childhood has its roots in every second, in every moment of our life. But the point Muhammad Reza said was really great, and I've never looked at it in this way. The point is, some people can take their childhood as an excuse to do everything that they've done. So that's wrong. Because, of course it takes a huge audacity. It takes a huge effort for you to rebuild the corruptness of your psychological aspect of your life. But it's practical, it takes time, it takes effort, but you can do it. And it's not a good excuse to say that, okay, I was an innocent person who was actually faced with this cruelty, and now I am the righteous people who do the cruelty to you.
Something is that most of the psychiatrists, when they want to see through a mental problem of a person, they usually look at the childhood and see that maybe this person has faced some difficulties and some bad things in his childhood that has affected his mental health in the future.
Make it clear that the difference between psychology and psychiatric, the difference between psychologists and the person who is psychiatrics is that the psychiatric person is actually in the field of medical and medicine domain. But psychology is different. You look for theoretical aspects of psyche, the mind.
The other thing that your childhood may affect you is the traits that you have. For example, a person who is who has self-respect or self-conscious, or any other trait that you have somehow rooted in your childhood. For example, if your parents always comparing you with your friends or your families or other people, that they always say that they are more successful than you, and they think they put you in a situation that you always think that you are not enough. You have something less in your character, and it kind of affects you in the future. And in the future you think that you are a useless person, you can't do things right, and it really affects your personality. And there's other thing about what Parmis said about every problem that's rooted back to the childhood. I think it's a bit overrated by these psychiatrists or psychologists people, that they always try to find a root in your childhood and try to fix that. I think it's it's just a part of remedy. Is there any better to find them and solve them? I don't think so. I think the route may lead you to something,
Yeah.
but the things that you do know is really more important than that. So we need to focus more in the
So it
This
might
phase.
not be the primary issue, but
It is
has,
one of the
it,
issues.
it might have a minor. It
Impact.
can be a minor element to the flawness that you have.
Let's
I
talk
think there
about
was some,
yes, there was
another
something, another good.
interesting
Yes, there was
question.
another
Ask
interesting.
it.
So, some people say that when people became 18, they are not a child anymore and they become an adult. So, in some people's mind, I think, in my opinion, that's a superstition. Cause like as a person, they can be, for example, 25 in the age, but for example, their mental age and their mind is like a 5-year-old. So, what about you guys? When do you think a child becomes an adult?
I think when their psychological needs are satisfied. You know,
Yeah.
the point is that the term adult has to be different with a person who is mature enough. You know, we've actually talked about this before in the speaking classes. And
Yeah.
you know, the Mr. Sordi, we were talking about the same issue. I personally
actually it's
believe
not
that.
Mr. Sordi, it's
It was
Mr.
you.
Shamshiri, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Ah, yeah, yeah. Your beloved teacher. Beloved
Okay.
teacher.
Yes, Shamshiri is like Sordi
In English.
in
In
English.
English.
If you translate it
Exactly.
face by
Word
translate
to
by
word.
face, word to
Word.
word.
No,
Word,
I
yeah.
think
Literature.
that a person can be in his 30s.
Literally. You mean
Literally,
literally.
yes. Literally.
I am talking, my friends. You know,
Go
I
on.
personally believe
You
that.
look, like Indians. I am talking with friends.
It was Italish.
Italic. Italic.
Yes, maybe
Go
Italic.
on.
It's not Italic, yes.
Yeah, go on.
I won't say anything. No, I think that a person can be in his or in her 30s but not be mature enough. And I personally don't take this person as an adult.
Yeah.
So what about you?
In my opinion, there need to be a standard. There need to be a standard for some rules and regulations in the society. We cannot ask all the people to go to a psychologist or something to measure their age or if they are mature enough or not. For example, to let them do something that is allowed after you age 18. For example, for driving license, we say that you can have the driving license after the age of 18 as you become adult. There are many people who never reach their adulthood and they are children and they
Yeah.
never know the consequences of driving, for example, when they are drunk. So
Okay, yeah.
we need to make a standard for these
For these kind of
age.
things,
So
yeah.
it's the age 18 isn't a standard and we
Yes.
cannot change it unless the society reach to a level that everyone can go to a psychiatrist, psychologist.
Yeah,
Constantly mixing these
Yeah,
two
yeah.
words because it was your fault because
Yeah.
yes, you explained this to us.
But you know,
So-
if you have any kind of a standard in your mind, just tell us in the comment section. That
Yeah.
would be-
Yes, what's
Tell us
your
your
idea
idea. What's
about
your
that?
idea?
Yeah.
And and there's other thing as well. If you are aged 25
Yes.
and you are not mature enough,
Mhm.
it's your fault. You don't have the time because the time is going by and there is nobody can stop the time.
Yes.
And you become older with your body even though you are young and children in your mind,
Yes.
Clock
your
is ticking.
body, yes, the clock is ticking, and your body is becoming old. So you need to do something about that. You can't you cannot just say that this person is young, this person mind is not mature, leave it alone. No, it's not like that. You cannot be at your 13 and you be young, you be child anymore. You should do something about that. Even the society should do something about that.
Yes.
Maybe this burden, pushing this burden on their shoulder, may help them to grow older. Maybe.
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay.
Otherwise, you would face the consequences.
Yes. All right.
This is Parmis.
Okay. So, you guys have any conclusion? The video is about 10.
Yeah.
Any conclusion?
Yes. Conclude.
If you are a parent, please, by heart, focus on the parenting, please, because
Yes.
I've seen many people right now who are psychologically corrupt, and they think that it's late,
Yeah.
but you can make a difference.
But there's something that I need to mention as well. Don't over control your children. Let
Exactly.
them make mistake, but in a controlled way, not in a way that they ruin their life.
I think that what you're trying to say is that let them to be exposed to the challenge in
Yes.
a way that they don't get hurt.
Yes.
Yes.
But in
They should
meantime,
get hurt, but not in a bad way.
They
Yes.
learn
Not
a
in a-
lesson from
They
that.
shouldn't get hurt in a way that it would influence their
Yes.
future.
There
But
is
they
a
have to
simple
learn something.
There is
Yes.
a simple example that nobody learn how to walk unless they fall a lot.
Yes.
Children fall a lot, and they, with many mistakes, after making many mistakes, they
Yeah.
learn how to walk.
And the
This
point
is the same for children. They need to make mistakes in order to grow up, in order to be developed. So
Yeah, there is this famous quote from Nietzsche, and it says that a snake which cannot cast its mind has to die.
what can you explain that?
Yeah, a snake which cannot cast itself, the skin
Oh.
has to
Oh,
be gone away
Yes,
from the
yes.
skin. So if he's incapable of doing that, eventually
He'll die.
it will die.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's
don't
So-
kill
Learn.
your children.
Yes. So that's it.
intentional.
So click the subscribe button. I'm sorry. the gun to click the subscribe button and the notification bell, and please leave a comment for us to see what is your opinion. And any last words?
Yeah, it was our first video, and it was an honor and privilege.
Actually, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
This is our
Official
second
first
try.
video.
Yes, this is our second try. We
But-
never know that it's going to be published or
Or
not.
not.
But
But
we tried our best, and we hope this is
This is the
would be
first official
good
video.
enough after reviewing and editing the video.
Inshallah.
So
And we try to answer you in your comments. And is there any?
thing that we can do to make it better?
Yes, and
Contact us.
is there? You don't let me finish. Is there any topic that you think it's good for us to speak about that,
Yes.
and you are interested in that? Suggest that we we will do it.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly. It is an honor, actually.
Done.
Done. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye. Goodbye.
Go.
I'm gonna leave.
So, first of all, I was just thinking, what are you two talking about?
I'm talking that if the camera falls, I'm gonna fall too.
There is some. And
Yes.
yes, you can imagine.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know,
we can
the-
consume, but nothing to